Okay, so we're plugging up the greenhouse, the vents, just because it's getting kind of cool in here at night. The lowest I seen in here, it was 47 degrees, and it was 4 outside. So 4 above zero, and it was 47 in here. So it's still 44 degrees warmer than it is outside. But since then, it's warmed up. It was 7 this morning, and it was 54 in here. So kind of a bigger gradient there, but we had a lot of solid sun yesterday. So anyway, went ahead and pulled out the vents there, plugged them with some 2-inch rigid foam. Same thing over here. Plug those up, and I'm just going to let that grate stuff around. I just made a little kind of a bead of grate stuff around just to make a seal, and then we'll put the automatic vents back in just to hold those in place in case the wind were to buffet them out or blow them out. And I'll just put a couple screws in those in the automatic vents. But I did take the pistons out. The pistons I'm just going to put down in this cabinet here because it says don't let them freeze, and it should never freeze in here. But I don't want them getting hot and trying to open and the vents hitting those pieces of rigid foam and it potentially bending something. I don't know if they're that strong or what would happen, or if it's bad for them. I just went ahead and took them out. So, and then of course down here we've plugged this. I have some insulation back behind that, and then there's some rigid foam, a disc right there. A little tiny bit of air comes around that, but eventually I'll get our door built here that we can close up, and should pretty much seal that off. Okay, so as far as temperatures going here, when I was walking up here from the shed to the greenhouse here, I was looking through the windows, and these walls actually look white from the outside, so I don't think they're absorbing that much light, and I just want to kind of see how much light they're absorbing. So the sun's been shining over here. The newest exposure's over here because the sun's going to the west, of course, so the oldest exposure's right here, so this should be the warmest part right here, and let's just see what it is. So 117 degrees. That's pretty good for a very light color. And it's a gray. In places it looks darker. Of course, in the shadow it looks much darker, but in the sunlight it looks almost white outside. So I've touched this barrel a couple times, this garden barrel, and of course it's got a lot of dirt behind it, but I just wondered how this color doesn't really look like a dark color to me. It's called Satin Paprika. It's by Rust-Oleum. Satin Paprika is the color, and it feels hot. Let's just see what it is. So that's 120, 112. Not a whole lot different from the wall. It just feels a lot hotter, and I'm not sure why. 111. And let's see what the wall is. Let's see. There's no post been blocking this wall for a while, so it should be pretty warm right here. Let's just see what the wall is right there. 119. So you can see the humidity building up on that's like 70% humidity in here right now, with it sealed up without ventilation. So this is another video of the garden barrel, but the little lettuces and the little Swiss chards and the little everything's starting to grow. It's kind of cool. Of course, we're rotating the barrel so that these back plants here get sunlight. And of course, the squash is in the top there. It's growing like crazy. It's growing really well too. So hopefully sealing it up will keep it a little bit warmer in here. Of course, it might get too hot, and what that may mean is we have to open the door to let it ventilate. What is it, about noon right now is my guess, and it's hot in here. I've got long sleeves and insulated pants, and it's miserably hot. I'm sweating. So 82, about 70% humidity, so that's good. Seems to be working well. And of course, some of the plants will tolerate this, hitting down to the low 50s is kind of what it's averaging with these vents. With the vents in place, it was averaging kind of low 50s. So for a low, and except for when we had really, really cold mornings, then it dipped down to like that one time it hit 40, whatever it was, 47. The vents are opening during the day. They'd be wide open right now, letting heat pour out. So right now I'm just trying to trap the heat in here, let it build up in this top part, let the heat that builds up in this top part heat this top part of the tire bales here. And let's just see actually what the heat is right now. It's probably not very warm up there where it's been in the shade. Let's just see though. 83. So that's actually the temperature in here. So that's 83. Okay. But here in the sun, 108 there. 104 there. Okay. So I think if we can get the ambient air temperature up here higher, it'll help warm this concrete up on the top, and that'll help absorb that heat, and then it'll hopefully radiate it back into the night instead of letting it leak out the top. That's with the hope that it doesn't get too hot down here in the bottom. And that's why I have this thermometer right here. This is basically, for most of the plants, this is the plant level. And as long as it's not getting into the upper 90s, I'm not too worried. So we'll watch it today and see how it does. Right now it's 82. I expect it'll climb a few degrees now that it's all sealed up. But it should keep the plants nice and warm. And the good part of this, which I didn't realize until this morning, is even though the temps are dropping down to the maybe upper 40s for the very coldest so far, this ambient temperature in here, the soil is still warmer than that. So it's not like the soil is outside being exposed to cold, right? So this soil mass is staying warm. So it's keeping the roots of the plants warm. And that's why I think we haven't seen anything, even though it's been hitting the upper 40s a couple times. The plants haven't, I mean, when you look at them, it doesn't even look like they've affected them at all or affected their growth. These things are growing an inch a day. These peas, it's just crazy how fast they're growing. Okay. So far so good. It's Thanksgiving Day today. So late November, the sun's getting pretty low, and it's warming a lot of the mass back here. We were waiting to seal. We were waiting to make a decision here. We were waiting to see what color we needed to paint the back wall. We wanted to see how warm this was going to stay over winter. And if we needed to paint the back wall a dark color, we really don't want to paint it like really dark brown or something like that, although that'd be ideal for heat attraction, right? It would be great for thermal mass heat absorption. But what we wanted to do is go ahead and seal these up, the vents up, seal all the vents so no air is coming in or out. As far as letting hot air out or cold air in, of course, we'll have to ventilate it here and there. But we wanted to see how that did before we painted the walls. And if the temperature's staying, in the mid to upper 50s now, with it all sealed up, that's awesome. Then we can kind of paint it maybe a medium color, but we might not have to paint it such a dark color that'll make it look smaller in here. We want to kind of paint it a medium color or even a lighter color if we can, to keep it looking, to keep it from looking small and cramped. So, and right, that's an aesthetic problem. It's not a heat problem, but if we have to paint it a dark color, we're going to. So we're just going to have to kind of see how it does over this next couple months when it gets really, really cold. And if it does, the temperatures do get intolerable down here for the plants, then we'll go ahead and paint this a dark color back here. And that should help solve that problem. Okay, good. So here's just an example of what I'm talking about. Obviously, dark colors absorb more heat. Everybody knows that. But where the wall like is right here, it's 108. I just put the thermometer on here. This black part that's been in the sun, and it's 130. And the last thing is, if I understand this right, I've heard people comment on gloss versus flat. And if you're trying to get the maximum heat absorption, you don't use a gloss that'll be somewhat reflective. And you want to use a flat paint. This is a gloss paint here, obviously, but it feels hotter than that. It feels like really warm. It says it's 115. It feels warmer than that. But anyway, so this is a gloss paint, so it may not be absorbing as much paint. But we really didn't want this to absorb a ton of heat. This is not really our primary thermal mass, obviously, but if it contributes, great. But our back wall, we will be painting in a flat color. Tomorrow's December 1st in southern Colorado. I don't think that's... I saw a butterfly just like that about 2 weeks ago. Maybe 3 weeks ago in here. Or whatever, I don't know what it is, a moth or a butterfly or what it is, but... I don't know what that means. Is it happy in here? It's December 5th today? And there's a butterfly here.
You have another,
December 5th in Colorado, and we have a butterfly.